Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for Friday, August 27th, and starting with the ASX. Here we have been looking at this in a bit of a bearish mode with the banks in terms of having an impulse wave down through here and then having a corrective wave back up as an ABC pattern in there. So let's just move in and have a closer look at that particular pattern that we're looking at. So that's what we've been, move this across. Okay, that's not moving. There we go. So we've been looking at this move up here as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave. That would be confirmed if that low there gets taken out at that point. That would obviously, we should be able to pick it up before that though. Also too, just looking in here, this minor level here, the 500 is the, well, it's the closest largest number and it's the most important number. If that becomes support, then we could look to trade long at that point as well. Thursday we sort of expect the market to be bearish and Friday to be bullish, so we need to keep an eye on that as well. But in a bear market that would work in the other direction as well. I'll just move these because they just confuse the issue a little bit. So we're sort of running this off the bank. We'll come back and have a closer look at this, but as you may know, we're just using CommBank here as the as a sort of format really for the ASX in that regard. And yeah, a bit hard to work out this on the intraday, exactly where we are here. I figured this move up here was on lower volume, so we could have a look at that on the weekly chart because corrections are on lower volume, and having that lower volume confirms that they are corrective. So that move going up there, yes, we don't have Friday's data in here on the volume, but you can see that it's rather small. And the way to do that, when you're reading volume, is you're reading the volume, comparing it to the previous bar. That's what you're doing. And then you're also comparing it to the open, the range, the close as well. So it's basically reading it back to the previous bar and also the price bar and its relationship to the previous bar as well. So yeah, I mean, just looking at that, we can see that that the move up here so far is on lower volume compared to the previous bar. So I just also want to have a look at this is the AXJO yesterday as well. So the AXJO here, the cash market. So its volume was quite high, normal, but it was lower than the previous bar. So this move down here was on increasing volume because for a trend to be a trend in either direction, you need increasing volume. In this move up through here, it's also, I mean, half of that volume in here could be contributed to selling as well because of where the range in the bar is. I just also want to have a look at the finance sector, I'll go to the banking sector, I think, XXJ. Might have a look at both of them actually, just. So this is going back to the GFC over here, and I suppose we could look at this. Let's just start from the beginning here, just for, I won't spend too much time and bore you to death, but I do just want to, we could look at that as 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a correction in 3 waves. And then we could look at this here as wave 1, a little bit messy in here for 2, but sort of 3, 4 and 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I guess what I'm saying here is that we can look at that as an impulse wave and then a correction and then 1 and 2. I need to study that, and 3 and 4 and 5. So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing 3 waves here and not 5 waves. So we're seeing 3 waves in this move here. Okay, so that's bullish corrective. So when we scroll back in over here, then we could look at, I suppose you could look at that in 3 waves, but this first move here is in 5 waves and then 3 waves. So I'd probably include this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 for 1 and 2 in there somewhere. I know that I remember all that's a bit messy. Then 1 and 2 and all of that there for the 3rd wave, and then the 4th and the 5th. So if we looked at that as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave and the 4th wave, you could probably even get the 4th wave over here, but it still leaves this leg here. So I would say that, I mean, normally wave 4 would be complicated and wave 2 would be simple. And this was simple, but it was also complicated in the time that it took compared to wave 1 here. So we could get 5 waves up here. So we'll go with that 5 waves. But even if it's 3 waves, we could still work that. But what I'm also saying here, does that look like 5 waves down? I mean, obviously something's happened here, the COVID-y thing. But the point being is that we don't see 5 waves down here. We you know, it's got overlapping wave structures through here between the highs and the lows. So it's corrective. So we could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then an ABC back up here, and then look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we could look at this as an A, B, C here for the A wave, and a B wave here, and then a C wave here. So we could look at this whole thing here as an A, B, and C here. So we could look at this being corrective here, and this being corrective here, that means we need to take out the top. Yes, we did take out the top, and that does satisfy that, but we're not seeing 5 waves down here. So that means that we could look at this as being corrective, and then a bullish move here, and then an A and a B and a C here for this. So we could look at this in a number of ways, but because it's corrective, it means that we should be taking out that high there. So this trend that we're looking at here, sure, it will have problems in, you know, coming in towards the old high here and all this sort of block. It hasn't had any problems so far, but it could at, you know, 7,500, 8,000. But what I'm saying here is this trend to the up, the banking sector is not finished, and it can push up higher. I could also look at this. If I looked at this and got this wrong here, I could look, well, I know that's in 3 waves. This is probably a little bit debatable and needs a bit of time, but even so, just for the sake of today, we could look at it as an A, B, C, D, and E as a triangle pattern over here, but that would still leave the market up after a triangle. You know, we would pull back, you know, to a point, because we've only got 3 waves up here as we got with CBA as such. You know, we've only got those 3 waves up here, but we're looking for wave 4 and wave 5. So, yeah, so this is all really, the finance sector is still bullish, which makes the ASX also bullish as well. Didn't want to spend too much time on that, but I just wanted to sort of, you know, cruise in and have a look at the bigger picture on that. So I still don't know. I mean, it is possible that wave 5 could be over here, because that could just be a B wave up there and a C wave coming down. And so there's things in here I don't know. As you know, I've been, you know, looking at that. The ANZ also presents a nice case for looking at this here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave for wave 4 instead of having it over here. So that could also be the case. So there's things that I don't know. This is sort of corrective here. Yes, it could rally, but as I mentioned, it'll do its rally and should drop again from that point. So no, we're not interested in the banking sector at the moment. It's the resource sector and the currencies that really are the turning point within the market. So, but let's just cruise in and have a look. We always have a quick look at China. Well, still looking for that low in China. Was down yesterday, so still looking for it to come down a bit further to take that low out there. India on the tick chart here. I'll just go back to the daily chart just to. Was it the daily chart we've been tracking? Yeah, nothing. I won't worry about that today. Nothing really cooking there. And onto the meaty stuff. So the iron ore, copper and Australian dollar bottoming here, and also the US dollar index also topping. So US dollar index, an A and a B and a C wave here. And it still needs confirmation, because picking a top is, you know, it could be a mug's game. And but anyway, using the Elliott there's a good case for that. We've got an impulse wave to the downside, still looking at a little bit of a rally there. I did adjust the count a little bit, not much, just a tad. Go to the 4-hour chart. So I've changed the 5 waves down here to have 5 waves right here on this low here, and then looking for the wave 2 here. And the reason, I won't go into the 15-minute chart where I counted it, we can do that later, but the reason for that is because if we look at the Australian dollar, we can come back to this one, just putting Humpty Dumpty together. So with the Australian dollar, we're looking at it here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and ready to pull back for wave 2. So the US dollar is basically doing the opposite. On this is a 4-hour chart, and on the tick chart we were tracking this up there, but the 5th wave hasn't finished really very nicely. Not that I always expect tops and bottoms to be perfect. They always, because they're being pulled around by other markets. So I was looking for 5 waves up through here, and I just didn't get them. So I do wonder if wave 4 is over here for this. So a bit of a spanner in the works. Just going to move these out the way for a moment. We're just going to investigate what's occurred in this space. We'll just track both counts for a little bit. We've got time. So this move up through this, that's okay as an ABC there. I'm just wondering if this is an ABC, and the A wave, the B wave and the C wave through here. I can see that that's 5 waves there. I can see this is corrective. This probably needs to come down a bit further. We'll have a bit of a look at that, but I just want to focus in on this for a moment. So obviously we can call that as wave 1 and 2. So this would be 1 and 2 here. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. So that's 1 and 2, and that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives me the 3rd wave there. And that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So that takes us up to that point. So all of that's just one leg. That's 5 legs. That's 5 waves. That's 5 waves. And that's 5 waves. So I think, you know, it doesn't really give me, well, what have we got over here? Is there something a bit weird that I'm missing over here? That looks, yeah, that's all a little bit, I wonder if that's the top truncated 5th wave, but it doesn't got no relationship to this wave. Look, there's a good case for this being an ABC pattern here. So I think it's worthwhile until we get our noggins around it that we look at that. If that is 5 waves, right, then we will need to, this here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can look at that as wave 1. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 2 there. So we need to take that on as 2. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be the 3rd wave here. And the 4th wave could pull back here. And then the 5th wave pulling down there. That would make that as wave C here of 4. So I just think we should track this for a little bit further. That can just come to there and there somewhere, and then push up for wave 5. So it does chuck a bit of spanner in the works in terms of, you know, getting our trade set up, but we just might have to wait a little bit. I think that the other way we could, I mean, just to continue this for a moment, we can just look at both counts. I think we can track both counts. I think one of the other points here too is that that's not going to, we don't need that now. And when you're looking for the wave 4 pullback, you're taking it from the top of wave 3, not that one up there. So it still can pull back further, come back further. So if it comes down further, it's okay. But what I was thinking is that this is 73 is the top of group 1, and that's going to be very important. So I think we'll get our trade from that point. So I'm thinking that we can come down here. We'll have 5 waves to move up here. And then we'll have our ABC across here in some way, and then we can look to go long at that point. Even if I've got this wrong and we've got this over here, we're still going to get this sort of pattern here for this. So we'll still be able to go long. It'll just be that it will be a different scenario. It'll just be wave 1 here and wave 2 here for that. So it won't matter too much. Of course, you could go long here, and keep the stop out of the way if you wanted to go that way around it. But you have to keep your position pretty small, because you would need, when you're trying to hold through the beginning of a trend, there's always a series of 1s and 2s in the market, and they're pretty deep, so they could come back quite deep. And clear you out for that. So yeah, anyway, enough on that. But there's a good case for that being wave 1 and 2, going back to our 4-hour chart, because of the US dollar index being on the flip side of this. Okay, so there is a good case, and it looks quite good here actually. It's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and just didn't finish off nicely here, that's all. We'll see if this pulls back down further. I mean, still, it's pretty shallow so far for a wave 2 pullback on that note. So, yeah, just need to work that a bit further. That's not going to pull back. We'll see how that goes. I'll just leave it there. Right, so where was I? So that's that. That's the iron ore. We're going to come back to the iron ore. So we want an impulse wave off this low here as well. So let's just, were we in the tick chart? Let me check it. So okay. So now, what I was thinking here, that we had wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then going in for 1 and 2, and that's all possible. We can go long above there if you want to. Oh, excuse me, late night. Or we could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with wave 1 here, and that would give us a deeper pullback. Probably not the case because we've got a slight overlap there, but I think it's worth, because that's the way that the market builds up. Will either be a series of 1s and 2s, or it will be 5 waves up and then a correction. But which is good to know, because, you'd have to leave your stop under there, But it wasn't really for trading purposes here. It was really more of a purpose for the other markets. And obviously when I close my platform, these things on the tick chart move across. So, but anyway, they don't really matter at this particular point. Now, the other way to count this too is that this can be 1 and back for 2 here as well, and that can be also a little 1 and 2 back there as well. It's falling a bit heavy in here, but this appears to be corrective at that point. Well, you could probably get 5 waves out of that. Anyway, I'm just splitting hairs, and because we're not actually trading it, it doesn't really matter that much at this stage. We're seeing all the right things for a bullish market, so nothing's collapsing at this particular point. So if that 61.8% became the retested resistance, well, then we would be obviously bearish at that point. So over this week, we've been building a case for the bullish side and having a low in play. So it's looking good. Let's see how that follows through. Also with CRUDE, I won't go into that. It's just hit resistance there. We talked about that yesterday. You can look at that on the charts on the website for daily updates on the intraday and so on. Gold here. So yesterday we talked about gold moving down here. I had it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So now we've got this pattern. We were looking for a B wave back. This here is not counting in, it counts in 3 waves, doesn't it? So we could look at this. I can see that there's 2 ways to look at it. Oh, that's good. B wave. And do we have 5 waves for the C wave there yet? For the B wave, that's the other question. I can just move that across. That will sit in pretty squarely there. Let's just check on this. That looks like 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's like a 4th wave here. So there should be, if this is the correct count, we should see 5 waves there before we see a bit further downside. Any other ways to count this? I suppose we could count it as the A wave here, then an A, B, and C for the B wave, and then down for the C wave, but it makes it a little bit short in that point. I mean, if we got a classic trading levels pattern on 18, then I would be interested in looking at long trades at that point, because something wouldn't quite be right at that point, you know. So we'll do that, and of course we take the top out here as well. All of those sorts of things. We need to know where we're wrong and what we're going to do about it, you know. It's okay being, it doesn't matter if you're wrong or right, as long as you're making money. I know that sounds a bit sort of weird, but it works. So yeah, let's just see how that plays out. And copper, I haven't seen copper. Okay, so there's copper. So from here we were looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. A little bit dodgy, but because this has moved up so well, that sort of is okay. I'm just going to move these out of the way here. I'll leave that wave C there. Yeah, we talked about that being in 3 waves yesterday. We could put wave 5 there. That is a possibility, but I'll leave that over there. We'll see how we travel at this point. And from wave 2 low to there, that's the 38.2%. So we'll just pop that in. Well, what we could do, what I like to do, is to grab the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, because that has significance. And that's the 38.2 there. So we've got that low and upper band there to work with, you know, and then once you do that, you come over to the price point over here. And in that case, you know, we can see this as, you know, we're in group 1 here. So it's close enough. And we've also got group 1 there as well. Might as well put that in, but can't be handy later. And that needs to go at 9,300. Okay, that looks better. Doesn't look like 5 waves going up there, does it? It could be. Anyway, what we're looking for, which it can come back to here, so I will draw it from there. We're looking for a move up here, which will give us, based on the 3rd wave being the longest, that will, wave 1 and wave 5 will be roughly the same length. We'll see where if that goes from there. That will take us a bit higher there. But basically what I'm trying to do here, at the 5, we know that we should see a classic trading levels pattern emerging from that there as well. So 3, 4, and 5 here, and the ABC. And then that will help confirm that we're bullish. I mean, I think that we are bullish, but we just need to just wait and see to get, you know, we've got 3 waves up. This looks corrective, so we'll see. If this pulls back further, then we'll have to pull that in there as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the top, but it's just a little bit small. So anyway, a little bit of patience with some of these, and they'll play out. They're just squashing up into the 50-60% sort of area. But once we get up there, we'll have a classic trading levels pattern to work with, and then we'll be on our way at that point. So that's all good. They're looking good for the resources. That's been great development over the time. So I think that sort of covers those. Let's just have a look at BHP. So yesterday with BHP, what I'll do is, just to make things a bit tidier, it can rally back to that point. That's the 38.2%. But probably a little bit unlikely, because this is 65, the medium level. 65 probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but the point being is that it does carry a lot of weight, and it makes it a sticky number. So we'll see how it goes. We still might look at this as the A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave up there. So that could still occur. But I'm pretty confident that we still have one more wave to move down here for this. And as I mentioned with the commodities, the commodities are sort of, and the Australian dollar and all that's pumping up. When they reach their wave one and they start pulling back, then this will bring this into a new low here, because it just doesn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless wave 4 is all tied up in there. But anyway, we'll check it all out next week, and we'll have a look at the intraday, but it does look a little bit impulsive there for that at this point. So not ready yet. Not for if you're just sort of buying it around a certain price between 60 and 65, then that's fine. But well, we also want some evidence of that the market's actually going to be pushing up as well. So that's US BHP. We want to have a look at the Australian BHP. That's probably 38.2% as well. We'll watch that struggle. It's moving up on lower volume, so we know that it's corrective. How far will it go? And we'll check out that next week. And Fortescue's probably the same as well here. Yeah, also pulling down. Stochastic's trickling along the bottom, flatlining along the bottom. So when that happens, you need to go to the next degree of structure, like a weekly or something. Yeah. So that's it, I think. Let me just check on my list. So we've covered the banks, which are not doing much. We need clarity on those. And yeah, that's it. Alrighty. Enjoy the weekend. Cheers.